Welcome to video number 2 of the 5-day Amazon Ad Profit Challenge, sponsored by Amazon Ad School. I'm Brian Cohen, coming back at you, excited today to talk about category ads, the kind of ads that allow you to target an entire subgenre at the same time. And in the long term, these ads could be the most effective for you, and they could be the ones with the most long-term value, especially if your book is very close to what readers in your subgenre expect. In order to encourage that, we are going to be talking about a type of copy today that will really target your target readers by utilizing your customer reviews for the purpose of your copywriting. So this has been a lot of fun so far. I'm very excited to share today's content with you. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Thank you for being here in video number 2, how to target your entire genre with category ads and use customer reviews to sell your book. So what should be happening at this point? Well, once you make sure that you're looking at the right dates on your campaigns, you may have about 20 to 30% of your ads that are showing impressions, and we're going to get into impressions a little more in video number 3. And about half of the ones that are showing impressions should also have clicks, so that would be 10 to 15% of your campaigns. That means about 70 to 80% of your campaigns may have nothing happening at all, which is totally normal. Some of these take a few days to turn on. I've had campaigns that take longer. This is one of the reasons, as I said in the last video, we create a lot of ads. And if you have fewer than 70% that are showing some activity, some life, then take it as a victory. This is the kind of patience we need to have if we are going to run effective Amazon ads. Now, there are some things that don't really matter at this point. There are a lot of stats that aren't worth looking at this stage of the game. And that's going to be different from what a lot of ad teachers would usually tell you. I would much rather you ignore the stats and create more ads rather than focusing on clicks to impression ratio, also known as CTR, advertising cost of sales. I think this is almost a worthless statistic for most of us with ebook sales. And then also looking at sales on your ad dashboard. I refer to these as tracked sales. I have found that this stat is wrong more often than it is right. So if you spend time, or if you see someone in the group spending time bemoaning any of these 3 things, I would tell them, Brian said that you should focus on just creating more ads. Also, you should ignore ads that have 0 impressions. Don't need to do anything about those. If you accidentally had a typo and it got rejected, look, these things happen. They even happen to me. And then do not worry about scaling up ads that you started just 3 days ago. This is a waste of your time at this stage of the game, and you should just be pushing forward. So these are the things that don't matter. I recommend just do the homework and keep on keeping on. The only things that really do matter, number 1 is profit. Numbers 2 through 7 are profit. I know, a little bit of a joke here. The first rule of Profit Club is just focus on profit, but these are really the big things that matter. And I want you to keep that in mind going forward. Conversion rate is another thing that is really important, and we're going to discuss that heavily in video number 5. So if you're talking about anything other than taking the steps to get future profit, you might be expending energy that you don't need to expend at this time. So let's talk about casting a wide net with our targeting. There are lots and lots of potential ad targets for our book, really any book title or keyword on Amazon. And so it makes sense to try to cast that wide net, to try to get a lot of potential targets all in one fell swoop. And so we are going to continue our ad creation process with category ads, also known as sponsored product category ads, SPCs, to give our ad the strongest chance to reach our target audience. And keyword ads are a more specific method of targeting, but, there's only so many keywords you can research, right? And there are a lot of benefits to doing kind of this shotgun approach of running ads to every book in a certain genre or subgenre. This will help us find readers we might not have found otherwise. And so that is the reason we are testing these out today. Now, by creating this category ad, we get to target a book, any book, in a certain subgenre, and your book doesn't have to be in that category in order to target it. It certainly can be, especially if that category is very relevant, but we want to put ourselves far and wide. Now, there are no limit to how many category ads and how many categories you can target, but it only makes sense to really target the categories that make sense for your book. You are not going to target young adult fantasy if you're writing nonfiction. It just doesn't make sense. And Amazon does suggest for these types of ads, if you've ever seen them before, a very high bid. Sometimes it's even suggesting you bid over $1 for a click. Now, I am telling you right off the bat, you can ignore that bid. You can stick with 30 cents for a standalone, 35 cents for a book in a series, or if the category is suggesting even a lower bid, you can bid just 1 cent above the suggested bid. So you do not have to bid very high to get category ads to work. If the suggested bid for your category is 24 cents, bid 25. If it's higher than 30 or 35 cents, bid 30 or 35 cents. Now, these suggested bids are kind of wacky. In 99% of cases, you just need to ignore them. They are Amazon trying to help you by getting your ad in the first placement everywhere, and that's not really what we're looking for here. We're looking for profit. We're not looking to spend a whole lot of money with Amazon. So this recommendation that Amazon makes can be ignored. I have bid for categories that had a $5 suggested bid. I've bid at 30 cents and I've gotten clicks. So the suggested bid being significantly higher does not mean you are going to get 0 clicks. You don't need to be the first listing. Many authors I know have gotten dozens or hundreds of clicks bidding well below that suggested bid. And this goes for any ad's suggested bid, because there's suggested bids for keywords too. You can bid lower and still get placement. Now, who knows? Maybe this is just Amazon trying to get more money out of us, but do not take the bait. If you see someone in the group asking, should I do the suggested bid? You can tell them no, and you can tell them, hey, read the post, watch the video, because Brian said that. So here's what you'll learn today. You're going to learn how to choose the right categories for your first or next category ad. You will learn a fantastic resource for doing category research on not just your book, but the best sellers in your genre. And you are going to learn one more powerful tip to combine this data gathering with some additional sources of getting keywords for your keyword ads. You'll also learn how to use your own customer reviews or the reviews of some of the best sellers in your genre to write absolutely awesome advertising copy. You know I love talking about copywriting. So here is what you are going to need today. You are going to need an internet browser, a spreadsheet. You might benefit from having some Amazon reviews, but it's not the end of the world if you don't have them. And you'll need to take the time to watch the video. I love how I always say 30 and then the video is longer than 30 minutes. Hilarious. And then about 30 to 60 minutes to do the homework. Now, everyone talks about scaling. How do I scale up these Amazon ads? Amazon ads are so hard to scale. Scaling means trying to get the same return but spend more money so you make more money. Now, the authors who've had some success, they talk about how Amazon is not taking their money. They're trying to bid and Amazon doesn't take it. And maybe you're in that position, maybe you're not, but I think that it's helpful to know for those of you who do want to scale up your ads, category ads might be the most scalable because they have the widest swath of targeting. Now, in the right subgenres, with the right setup, you might not have any trouble getting your ads to spend properly. In the last challenge, we had plenty of authors see results from their category ads. But I recommend sticking with that low bid, 30 or 35 cents, or just 1 cent above any suggested bids that are lower than 30 cents. How do we pick the right categories? These category ads let you pick any book or audiobook category, but no Kindle categories for some reason. They let you do this on the UK, not in the US. I am not sure why. It's smart to pick the 3 to 5 categories that are the most related to your book. Like I said, no YA fantasy targeting on your nonfiction. And you want to get as specific as possible. You can pick to target all fantasy books, but if your book is coming of age, you are going to get more out of specifically targeting coming of age fantasy. So go deeper. Don't stay at the surface level because it's going to be too broad. Now, it is very helpful to look at your own categories and the categories of the best-selling books that are most closely tied with yours. The books that are similar enough to yours that you'd feel comfortable targeting their categories as well. So where do we find these? Well, you can see up to 3 of them on every Amazon page. It doesn't necessarily help us to see all of the categories that a book is in. It used to, Amazon did used to show this information. It was at the bottom of every Amazon book page. A year or 2 ago, they took it away. But that data is still hiding on those Amazon pages. And it was taken away, and we couldn't see that info until now. There is a website called Booklink, and BKLNK.com, that recently brought that capability back. And I've been so happy to use this and to share this tool. So you can plug in the Amazon number or the paperback book number, ASIN or ISBN, for any book that you want to research, and you can learn what categories it's in. And this includes any bestseller in your genre. You can probably get a feel that this is pretty helpful. It's the perfect way to quickly research the best categories you should be targeting. So here is how that process works. First, you are going to copy some Amazon numbers, some ISBN numbers. There's 2 ways to get those. They're actually living in the URL for your Amazon book listings. They also live in the product details section on your Amazon page, and then you can paste them into a spreadsheet, into a text document, whatever works best for you. Then you're going to take one of those numbers and paste them into the cat finder. It is not finding felines. It is finding categories for your for the section on booklink.com, bklnk.com. Then you're going to copy the categories that might fit your book. So you're going to see what comes up, and then you're going to say, hey, this one looks promising, and you're going to copy that into a new tab on the spreadsheet or a new section on your text document. Then keep repeating steps 2 and 3. Copy those related ASINs, paste them, and then you find, hey, that's a category I hadn't seen before. Maybe I should try that. And then you can use those categories to test out in your ads. Now, while you're in those categories, we have a handy little hack. BookLink recently added a new feature that shows direct links to the top 100 bestsellers and the new and noteworthy lists, aka kind of the new release list, for each category. These pages work on Instant Data Scraper. While the also bots don't show up on Instant Data Scraper, the top 100 lists do. So Amazon will still sometimes boot you out, which just means it won't work for Instant Data Scraper, but it's still worth playing around with. So if you gather those 100 bestsellers and those 100 new and noteworthy, which may have some overlap, but we don't worry about duplicates in the challenge. It's not something you need to concern yourself with. 5 categories, 10 lists in total, because there's 2 lists per category. This could be 1,000 new keywords to try across 8 to 10 additional keyword campaigns. As you can probably guess, this is the extra credit too for today's video. So like I said, Amazon doesn't like its data being scraped. So you might have a little trouble. You might need to use an incognito browser, but at least we can pull what we can before they boot us out. You might be saying, I think this is where you do a screen share. Look, you've got me so figured out. You just have me absolutely nailed here. So let's get this window to be the right size, which it is not currently. And let's take a look. So you can see we're on one of my books, one of my fiction books. And there's actually the 2 places you can get that ASIN information up here in the URL, or down here in the product details. I had a few people saying, can you make it bigger? And here we are. So that's where the ASIN lives. You can gather that information there. But I wanted to show you, here are the 3 categories that are showing here. But these are not the only categories that this book is in. In order, copy this. In order to see what categories the book is in, we go to booklink.com. We go to the cat finder, meow, meow. And we go click here. And now we can see, so we just paste and then click go find. And we see that the book is actually in several additional categories. We see that it is in superhero science fiction. We see that it is in teen and young adult superhero fiction, teen and young adult science fiction, horror comedy, and various other categories. So these categories, if I hadn't been targeting them with category ads, these might be good fits for me. So let's actually open up. We will open up a Google Doc here. And we will say, all right, we're going to do some hunting for some similar books. I want to look in teen and young adult superhero fiction. So I'm looking. It's This looks a little too fantasy. I do know that Steelheart is a superhero book. Supernova looks okay. And I'm using on a Mac, I'm using Command Click. You might have to right click in your on your PC. And I'm opening up this. So I've got these 3 books. I'm going to change all of these to make sure they're on the Kindle edition, as I want to be targeting ebooks primarily. And we're going to gather that ASIN number. And as depending on how organized you are, you might make this into a pretty spreadsheet. But I am not doing that for the purposes of speed. And we've got this one in here. So we have pasted those. Now we're going to take the first one. We're going to go to book link. And we are going to paste that in here before we click Go Find. Let's see what categories we're in here. So we're actually seeing children's books, which is super interesting. I believe this means that the book has been rated for under 13 as well as over 13, because you're seeing these teen and young adult as well. So I'm not targeting this group, teen and young adult boys and men fiction. So I'm going to say, I could try this one. Teen and young adult boys and men fiction. I'm looking down here, seeing what I can find. We have teen and young adult action adventure. Maybe I'll try that. And I'll paste that in here as well. And these are just, oops, I meant to paste the whole thing. But these are the kind of things you can then hunt. And I'm realizing actually this is the Kindle store category, so I won't be able to target that. But I would be able to target teen and young adult dystopian. So you have to remember that. If it's got a Kindle book here, it will not show up. It's a good thing I made that mistake so that I could have a teaching moment. All right, so we've looked at that one. Let's now look at the second ASIN and see if we have any other candidates for my superhero book here. Go find. And let's scroll down. We're looking at these book categories. I'm not seeing too much more here. It looks like these are kind of targeting the same thing, but I don't actually have this teen and young adult science fiction targeted. So I'll give that a shot. Paste. And now let's look at the third one and paste that in real quick. Go find. And here we are for Outlaw. So we are seeing superhero science fiction, teen and young adult science fiction. So not much new, but in case I wasn't targeting this, spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure I am, that would be another one we could play with. So now we have those set. But for that additional hack, and this is all going to be used in the second half of the video, we are seeing this top 100 list and this new and noteworthy. So we're seeing the superhero science fiction found by Frost. Doesn't look too superhero-y to me. But we are going to scrape some data here. As you'll recall, we click on this to reload. Click on it again. And there it is coming up. We're going to locate our next button, which lives down here at the bottom. And we'll go back over, scrape that data, And just as I said might happen, Amazon said, no more, don't take my data. But we've got what we came for, and we can download that. So if you run into troubles, like let's see if I can get the new releases to work. It might not let me. I might need to go into an incognito. Oops, I hit the wrong one. That's what I wanted to click. That looks like a different kind of Pokeball. Looks like it's letting us, so that's a good sign. Scroll down. Next page. Oh, that didn't work quite the way I wanted it to because I forgot to click the button. Let's go click that button now. Locate next button. And there we go. And now we're back. And now we can start crawling. And it did let us go through. It kicked us out after, but we got our 100. So now you can take those top 100 bestsellers and the top 100 new and noteworthy and use those in your keyword ads. Now, here's the thing. It is tempting to just try to jam-pack all of those categories into a single ad, but sponsored product category ads are not like keyword ads. You do not need to put more than one category into each ad. It's actually easier, in my opinion, to see which of our ads are doing well by just putting one into every single one. And even though it will take more time to create separate ads for each one, it will be more helpful for your results in the long run. It is tough to go slowly but surely. I pasted kind of a Zen lemur in the Facebook group saying, good Amazon ads come to those who wait. But there are multiple points during this challenge where I'm going to suggest patience and I'm going to suggest waiting. It is very important to not want results immediately. And I know that when you need royalties right now, slow and steady seems crazy. It seems very, very counterintuitive. But now that I've seen thousands of authors try this platform, I think in the last challenge there were 3,300 or something authors who went through this, I can say with authority, I've never seen someone who's rushing their ads have long-term success. I just haven't seen it. And so if you rush, you are actually going to reduce your chances of success. I don't want that to happen, so I don't want you to rush. The more you go through this in a gradual, deliberate strategy, the more likely you are to turn a profit. So here's how you create those one category per ad, sponsored product category advertisements. First, pick a name that includes an acronym for your book you can easily search. In this case, I chose TVS, SPC. If is the name of the copy, which I'll go into, and 30 for the bid. Then you're going to pick your budget, your duration, and your bid, $5 a day. April 30th for the end date. I'll tell you more about that later in another video. 30, 35 cents, or just 1 cent more than the suggested bid. Manual targeting, custom, so you can use your copy. Pick that book. You're going to go to product targeting instead of keyword targeting. And that's where you're going to search for your categories, where you're going to pick one and only one. And I'm going to show off that process in the screen share. Just type in one word at a time. That's how you're going to get those categories to pop up. And then you're going to write your if you like this, then you'll love that copy, which I'm going to explain in the subsequent slides. Double check your bids. This is always very important. Make sure it is what you think it should be. Then click Create Campaign, and you're all set to go. Now, before we get to the copy, when you tab over to product targeting and you're creating an ad, you're going to see a suggested categories tab and a search tab. You're going to click on the search tab and then use just one word. So if you're looking up fantasy, type in fantasy. If you're looking up business, type in business. And that's how you're going to find your appropriate category for your book. If you try to type in more than one word at a time, you're not going to come up with much. The other thing is, no scroll bar appears to the right of your results, even though it should. it looks like, oh, I only came up with 5 results. But if you actually click anywhere in there and use your cursor to scroll down, you'll see way more potential category targets. So remember that when you're going through this. So how do we write today's copy? Well, something I've learned from now, it was kind of weird to look at seeing, oh, wow, I've been doing copywriting for a long time. 12 plus years of copywriting experience is customers respond to language that customers tend to use. So when you advertise like a reader, readers are more likely to take notice. So how do we get into the heads of our readers in order to share copy that they'll identify with? Well, one of the best resources to finding out what your fans say about your books is your customer reviews. Some of the words they use, particularly adjectives, can be snatched up to employ in your Amazon ads. I'm not talking about quoting reviews. Amazon ad copy actually doesn't like that. I'm talking about gaining inspiration for the adjectives you could use to describe your own book. Surprisingly, a lot of authors, very humble, do not want to talk themselves up. So in order to talk yourself up, you can use other people's words in order to not feel so weird about it. If you do not have many reviews, go look at the reviews of bestsellers that are similar to your book to see kind of what your ideal reader wants, and that can inspire you as well. Obviously, if your book is different and their reader is describing something that happens in that other book but not yours, don't use words that wouldn't fit. Just use words that would fit to describe your book. So here's how the copy looks. We write the copy in the following format. If you like this adjective phrase, and adjective phrase, then you'll love Bob's adjective book. If you like fast-paced thrillers, witty heroes, and ruthless villains, then you'll love Brian Cohen's high-octane series. Now, these sometimes can get a little chunky and can be higher than 149 characters. So you can use wordcounter.net again to test all this. And if it ends up being too much, just use 2 adjective phrases. Now, this format has been tested by BookBub, a great ebook advertiser. This increases click-through rate in your ads and can even increase sales if they show up on your sales page as part of your book description, which is why Best Page Forward always includes these in the book description. So I will also say this works for nonfiction just as well. If you like down-to-earth information and up-to-date statistics, then you'll love Bob's book on getting out of debt. So it absolutely works for fiction and nonfiction. So I want to give you a look ahead. In the old days, category ads would run, you'd see clicks, and you'd have no idea which books got the click. You'd just know, well, it happened somewhere in my category. Amazon then started adding them to a search term report that you could download from the ad dashboard. That was a step in the right direction. We could actually see what got clicks. Now, these actually show up on the ad itself. You can see a list of the titles on the search term tab of your ad group settings. So I will show you this. It is not intuitive where these live, but I am going to show you in the screen share. And when we have our bonus webinar, How to Scale Your Amazon Ads, on Tuesday, April 21st, I'm going to show you how to use these targets as part of a long-term strategy. I just wanted to tell you that this was going somewhere. I have a plan. I'm here to take care of you. I really am. So let's see that copy hack in action as well as getting those category ads set up abso-freaking-lutely. Let's go to our ad dashboard at advertising.amazon.com. And we're going to click that yellow Create Campaign button. We're going to click Sponsored Product Ad. And here's where we go. So we're going to do TVS SPC if 30. So let's go set our end date for April 30th. Set our daily budget at 5. And remember, if you want to create portfolios to organize your ads, you can. You just have to do that from the main campaign page. I'm disorganized by trade, so we're going to click manual targeting. We're going to keep dynamic bids down only. Don't change this. We're keeping this. Not everyone is listening. Custom text ad. Let's go pick our series here, box set. And notice if it shows up as $0, that just means it's because it's in Kindle Unlimited. That is how Amazon is now advertising these. In the targeting section, we're going to pick product targeting. And then we need to make sure we change our bid. I'm choosing 30 cents here. So we have this suggested categories, but we also have search. So here's search. And you can target things other than books. I just wouldn't recommend it. So we want to find boys and men. This book is for boys and men. Not boys to men. All right, we see it pop up right here. Now we see this is a books category, which we would rather over an audiobook category. And then we click the target button. Let's take a look at some of our others. We're going to look at dystopian. Go back over here, and we do a different search. Dystopian. Now you'll see here audio categories come up first. We don't want to target those. But we do want books categories. I mean, if your book is an audiobook as well, you could target that too. And this looks like exactly what we were looking for. Sci-fi, dystopian, target. Let's do one more. Superhero. So if you have any trouble finding these, it's probably because you're looking up a Kindle category and not a book category. Just remember, you can't find the Kindle categories here. Skip over these Audible ones. We see superhero science fiction here, and we will target it. So now we see the 3 that we chose. Oh, and just to see, click in the middle, and look at all these options, despite the fact that they're not really showing you a scroll. So, note, these suggested bids are much higher. I'm ignoring those and choosing 30. Don't click apply. Don't click apply all. Don't change to the suggested bid. Listen to me. I know what I'm talking about here. Let's go to our creative here. So let's go to Viral Superhero Series for our if. If you like this, then you'll love that. Clicking in here. Going over to our Kindle edition. So we're here in the book description copy. Now, I know this because I've done it before. If you like fast-paced thrillers, witty heroes, and ruthless villains, then you will love this high-octane series. Now, here's the interesting thing. In my book description, I use USA Today best-selling authors. Amazon doesn't let you do that. You can't say USA Today best-selling authors. So we need to take that out. Now, let's say this was too long. We might just say witty heroes and ruthless villains. But let's say I was starting with nothing. Well, let's scroll down to our customer reviews. And let's take a look. Oh, not great. Probably wouldn't use that one. But we're seeing fast-paced. We're seeing powers. So we might have action, superpowers, action, strong superhero. It's a very YA, tropes, very engaging. So we might say engaging fiction. Lots of fun, tons of fun. We could use that. Let's see. As long as you're not a grammar Nazi. Please release more. Oh, that is so nice. Buffy-esque. Buffy the Vampire Slayer-esque. Quite enjoyable. Very appealing. Refreshingly fun. Look, these are the kind of things you can grab. But let's say you didn't have any reviews. You might go to your, not seeing my superhero category here, so Amazon Top 100 Teen Superhero Books. And let's take a look here. And then let's go to Steelheart, which is kind of the #1 selling actual superhero book. And let's go, we can actually click here to the customer reviews. So we can look here. Action oriented. Let's see. So you just kind of post-apocalyptic Chicago. We can look at all of these, kind of scroll through. How do you know what is a good one? Usually it's going to be from a 5-star. Wonderful spin on human nature. That's kind of a cool one. So we can keep tweaking these in order to find ideas. Let's see. It truly engrossed me. You change something to engrossing. So if you don't have the reviews, go hunting and then get a bunch of these ideas, paste them into a document, and then test out which ones you think will work the best. So if you like this, and this, then you'll love this adjective series from these authors. Or you'll love Brian Cohen and Casey Lane's High Octane series. So that is how you write the copy that BookBub has said converts very well. So now it is time to research and create. Look, these are the 3 main profitable types of ads. The ones I've shared with you today, these are the ones that I think are the most profitable when you're just starting out. And now you know, through various ways, Goodreads list, Top 100 list, Category Finder, you know how to find an unlimited number of targets to find the exact ones for your book. And by using a mix of all 3 ad types, you can gather the data you need to see if your book can be profitable. Some books maybe aren't set up for being profitable. We can work on that. But as they are right now, how can we determine if they're profitable? And once you learn that you can spend ad money and get a positive return, you can put more of your resources behind it, which could lead to more money, higher royalties, more profit that you would not have seen otherwise. Now, the stats are coming next. Look, I've said 70 to 80% of your ads probably won't be doing anything yet, and it's perfectly normal. I have hundreds of ads right now that are not serving at all. And I don't do anything about them because I would rather create more ads. But for the 20 to 30% that show impressions, clicks, and possibly even tracked sales, I've seen in the first couple days, we already have some folks getting sales off their books. It is going to be very helpful to know how to evaluate these statistics. Well, that's the next thing coming up in the following video. Now, as a reminder, all of the accurate stats related to how many copies you sold, how many pages were read, can be found on the KDP Beta dashboard. So let's go into the homework for video number 2. You're going to conduct your research on booklink.com to find 5 or more categories that could very well be relevant. Use those findings to create your first SPC ad with either a 30, 35 cent, or just 1 cent higher than your suggested bid, $5 budget, and that same end date. Then you're going to search your customer reviews, find inspiration, and write that. If you like this, then you'll love that copy to complete your ad campaign. Post a screenshot with your accomplishment to the group with the title Video Number 2 Homework. Then comment on another author's post to give them, hey, that virtual high five. That was my really poor attempt at Foley here. Give them that virtual high five they deserve. Now, if you'd like to do the extra credit, use that research to create 5 separate ads, each with one category, same exact bidding strategy. Use that copy for each of the 5. Then post a screenshot, show how very, very cool you are in the Facebook group. Then I'd like you to please complete that assignment by commenting on another author's extra credit. Don't do this in a vacuum. Give that love. And then the extra credit too. Now you're going to use that hack that I showed you with Instant Data Scraper. Go back over to the 5 categories you found via Booklink. Click over to the top 100 and new and noteworthy lists for each category. Use Instant Data Scraper to gather book title keywords from those 10 pages, clean them up in Excel, and create up to 10 sponsored product keyword ads with one list per ad using that if you like this copy. Same bidding strategy, 30 or 35 cents. Post a screenshot, give some online hugs to another author in the comment section for their post. Now, I know it can be scary, but I don't want you to be scared about what's coming. Coming up is that part that scares many of us, the math versus the words. We can handle the words, but not the math, Brian. Look, in the next video, we're gonna define all the stats. We're gonna help learn how they impact our profit. I've covered some of the basics. A costs bad, don't look at it, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper in the next video. And then I want you to remember today's Facebook Live will be at 2 p.m. Eastern, if you can make it. So I am proud of you. I am happy you're here. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, you can head on over to the Facebook group and post your homework. I do have a Facebook Live today at 2 p.m. Eastern, and you can go into the group to check that out at that time. I'll have a fun special announcement during that live chat, so I hope you will be there in person. And thank you again for taking this challenge. I know that it is a wild time out there, but for you to be spending your time with me and with the other authors in the group, it really does mean a lot. So thanks, and I will see you tomorrow for the next video.